When humanity joins the Galactic Federation, the galaxy learns a terrifying truth. What they consider apex predators, humans call pets. Vesper Wilde, the human colonist, treats a juvenile Vrexian Stalker like a playful puppy, much to the horror of Diplomatic Observer Kelth-Nine, whose species has feared these creatures for millennia. As Kelth watches this impossible bond unfold on the frontier colony of Threshold Station, he must reconsider everything his civilization knows about survival, dominance, and what truly makes a species dangerous. What starts as bureaucratic documentation becomes a front-row seat to humanity's most unsettling characteristic, their ability to befriend anything with teeth. I, Kelth-Nine of the administrative caste, do solemnly swear that what follows is documented truth, not fever dream induced by contaminated nutrition paste. Though I wish it were the latter. My assignment to Threshold Station seemed routine when I received it. 3 cycles of observation, standard protocol for newly integrated species, file reports, return home, collect my promotion. Simple. Humans, I was told, were Category 4 sapients, tool users, pack bonded, reasonably intelligent, nothing special. That assessment I now realize was written by someone who had never actually met one. The transport deposited me at the station's diplomatic berth at 0600 station time. Threshold Station orbited a greenish world the humans called Breakwater, their newest colony in the outer spiral. The structure itself was utilitarian, all prefabricated modules and exposed conduits. Humans, apparently, valued function over aesthetics. Refreshing, honestly. The Quellan delegation halls back home were 70% decorative pillars that served no structural purpose. I adjusted my translator implant and proceeded through customs. The human officer, a broad-shouldered male with facial hair that defied several aesthetic conventions, barely glanced at my credentials. "Welcome to Threshold," he grunted. "Try the coffee, it's terrible, but it's ours." I had no context for this statement. I thanked him anyway. My guide arrived 10 minutes later. Vesper Wilde. The name alone should have warned me. Humans with unusual designations, I've since learned, correlate strongly with unusual behavior. She was tall even by human standards, with dark skin and hair pulled back in what I now know is called a ponytail, though I see neither pony nor tail involved. Her clothing was practical, reinforced pants, boots rated for industrial environments, and a jacket covered in pockets. Humans love pockets. I still don't understand why. Kelth-Nine? She extended her hand. I stared at it. I am not programmed to understand this gesture. It's a handshake. Physical greeting. You grip my hand and we shake them up and down a few times. Why? Because it's polite. Also, it's how we check if you're secretly a robot. I could not determine if she was joking. I gripped her hand. She squeezed firmly, then released. I remained uncertain about the robot question. "Right," Vesper said. "Let's get you settled. Fair warning, things are a bit chaotic today. One of the cargo shuttles brought up something extra from the surface." "Extra?" "Yeah. A local predator snuck aboard. Happens sometimes. We're working on containment." My dorsal ridge stiffened. "The predator? What classification?" "Vrexian Stalker. Juvenile, maybe 3 months old." I stopped walking. Several of my respiratory systems shut down temporarily. When they restarted, I produced a sound my species reserves for natural disasters and tax audits. "You brought a Vrexian Stalker to the station?" Vesper turned, eyebrows raised. "You know about them?" "Know about them? My species has entire military divisions dedicated to avoiding them. They're apex predators, Category 9 hazards. They've wiped out 14 surveying expeditions." "Ha," Vesper said, remarkably calm. "That's wild. They're pretty cute, honestly." I questioned whether my translator had malfunctioned. "Cute? They have 16-centimeter claws and neurotoxic saliva." "Yeah, but look at their little faces. All those whiskers, like angry pillows with teeth." I began to suspect I was dealing with a defective human. This theory lasted approximately 4 minutes. We reached the residential sector. Vesper's quarters were modest, but personalized. Photographs covered one wall. showing her with various humans in different environments. A small plant grew in a container near the window. Normal. Acceptable. Then I saw the food dish. Why, I asked carefully, is there a feeding receptacle designed for large carnivores in your living space? Oh, that's for Ripper. Ripper. My Vrexian Stalker. Several things happened simultaneously. My translator updated with new context. My survival instincts activated override protocols. My diplomatic training wrestled them back into submission. You, I said slowly, have domesticated a Vrexian Stalker. Domesticated is a strong word. I'd say we're roommates who respect each other's boundaries. They don't have boundaries. They have killing ranges and digestion schedules. Vesper grinned. Humans bare their teeth when experiencing positive emotions. It's horrifying until you get used to it. I'm not sure I'm used to it yet. You want to meet her? Absolutely not. Great, she's in the next room. Before I could activate my distress beacon, Vesper opened an interior door. I prepared for death. What emerged was, objectively speaking, a Vrexian Stalker. Scaled hide that shifted between grey and green, 4 legs ending in retractable claws, a tail lined with bony protrusions, elongated skull with binocular vision and approximately 72 teeth. All the nightmare specifications matched, except it was small, perhaps 60 centimeters at the shoulder, and it was making a sound I'd never heard in any xenobiology file. It was purring. The creature, this impossible bundle of evolutionary violence, bounded toward Vesper with what could only be described as enthusiasm. It leaped, all 4 legs, leaving the ground, claws extended toward her torso. Vesper caught it mid-air. She spun around, laughing, while the creature chirped and wrapped its tail around her arm. Who's a good girl? Vesper cooed, scratching under the creature's jaw. Who's the best apex predator? You are. Yes, you are. The Vrexian Stalker's eyes closed in apparent contentment. I stood very still. Moving seemed dangerous. Not moving also seemed dangerous. All options seemed dangerous. Kelth. Meet Ripper. Ripper, this is Kelth-Nine. He's going to be staying with us for observation. The creature turned its head toward me. 4 eyes focused with predatory precision. It sniffed the air. Then it yawned. Vesper set her down gently. Ripper padded over to me, sniffed my leg covering, then returned to Vesper and flopped on her back, exposing her ventral surface. Belly rubs, Vesper explained, obliging the creature. Universal sign of trust. That, I managed, is not universal. Sure it is. Dogs, cats, Vrexian Stalkers. Anything with a belly wants it rubbed. I have 3 bellies, and I would prefer all of them remain unrubbed. Vesper laughed again. Fair enough, different strokes for different folks. I was beginning to understand that humans operated on principles fundamentally incompatible with survival instinct. The first full cycle at Threshold Station taught me that my initial assessment of Vesper Wilde was not only incorrect, but dangerously inadequate. She wasn't effective. She was, terrifyingly, a completely standard human. I discovered this during breakfast in the communal dining area. Ripper accompanied us, trotting beside Vesper on a leash. A leash. A leash, as if restraining an apex predator with woven synthetic fiber, made logical sense. Other humans paused their morning routines to greet the creature. Morning, Ripper, called a maintenance technician. Looking fierce today, added a botanist, reaching down to pat the creature's head. The Vrexian Stalker accepted these interactions with grace, occasionally licking someone's hand with that neurotoxic tongue everyone seemed remarkably unconcerned about. Vesper, I said quietly, are all humans this comfortable with lethal fauna? She considered this while pouring a black liquid she called coffee into a container. Define comfortable. Your species seems to view mortal danger as a minor inconvenience. Oh, that. She sipped her drink. Yeah, we had a lot of dangerous animals back on Earth. Lions, bears, crocodiles, hippos, geese. Geese? Terrifying birds. Pure malice in feathered form. Anyway, we learned pretty early that most predators are just animals trying to survive. Treat them with respect, understand their behavior, and usually you can coexist. Usually? Well, Sometimes they eat you, but that's nature. I absorbed this philosophy with growing alarm. And when they do eat you, then that specific human made a mistake, but the species learns from it and adjusts. She shrugged. That's kind of our thing. We're very good at adjusting. A young human approached our table, no more than 15 solar cycles old, based on developmental markers. He knelt beside Ripper, producing a small object from his pocket. Can I give her a treat, Miss Wilde? Sure, Marcus. Palm flat. Let her take it gently. The child, Marcus, offered the treat. Ripper's jaws, capable of crushing bone, delicately plucked it from his hand. Her tail wagged. The human concept of wagging confuses me. So many things. Marcus giggled and ran back to his family unit. You allow juveniles near the creature, I observed. Kids love Ripper. She's basically a puppy to them. She is a Vrexian Stalker. Yeah, but like a friendly one. Vesper scratched behind Ripper's ear ridges. The creature leaned into the contact. Look, I get it. Your species has bad history with her species. But Ripper was separated from her pack, scared, alone. She needed help, so I helped. How? Food, mostly. Shelter. Patience. Turns out if you're not trying to kill them, they're not super interested in killing you. She paused. Well, unless you threaten their territory, or young, then they'll absolutely kill you. But that's just good parenting. I filed a mental note. Humans consider lethal defensive behavior good parenting. The rest of the cycle proved equally educational. Vesper's duties involved environmental management for the colony below, monitoring atmospheric processes and biological integration systems. She piloted us down to the surface in a transport shuttle, Ripper secured in a specialized harness. Breakwater was beautiful in an alien way. Purple vegetation dominated the landscape, and the sky held 2 small moons visible even during daylight. The colony consisted of perhaps 3,000 humans, all working to establish permanent settlement. We visited a terraforming station where Vesper checked soil samples and bacterial cultures. While she worked, Ripper explored the facility perimeter, occasionally stopping to investigate interesting scents. Doesn't she run away? I asked. Where would she go? She's pack bonded to me now. Humans aren't her original pack, but we're her pack nonetheless. Pack bonding, I said, recognition dawning. Your species does this with everything. Pretty much. Dogs, cats, horses, dolphins, robots, houseplants, favorite coffee mugs. She gestured around. This whole colony is pack bonded. We're 37 light years from Earth, but we're together. That's what matters. A realization crystallized in my consciousness. Your expansion across the galaxy isn't exploration. It's pack expansion. Vesper looked at me with something resembling respect. Huh. That's actually pretty insightful, Kelth. Yeah, I guess it is. We bring our pack with us, and we make new pack along the way, even with species that try to kill you. Especially with those, best friends are usually former enemies. Builds character. We returned to the station as the planet's primary star set. Ripper had collected several surface samples in her fur that Vesper carefully removed and catalogued. Apparently the creature assisted with biological surveys. A lethal predator performing scientific duties. Naturally, that evening, Vesper invited me to observe her training session with Ripper. The station's cargo bay had been converted into a makeshift gymnasium. Obstacle courses, climbing structures, and various implements I couldn't identify filled the space. Training for what purpose? I asked. Mental stimulation, physical exercise. Ripper's smart. She needs challenges. Vesper released the creature from her leash. Also, it's fun. Ready, girl? What followed defied every xenobiological principle I'd ever studied. Vesper ran through the obstacle course, Ripper following, both moving with synchronized precision. The human vaulted barriers. The predator leaped beside her. They climbed, balanced, navigated narrow passages together. At one point, Vesper stumbled. Ripper immediately stopped, circling back, pressing against the human's leg in apparent concern. I'm good, Vesper laughed, steadying herself. Thanks, buddy. They completed the course, both breathing hard, both clearly enjoying themselves. You trust her completely, I said. With my life, Vesper confirmed, offering Ripper water from a shared container. And she trusts me. That's the deal. But she could kill you, instantly, without warning. So could any human on this station. So could you, probably, if you wanted to. Trust isn't about capability, it's about choice. She looked at me directly. Ripper chooses not to hurt me. Every day. That's worth more than any safety protocol. I thought about my own species. Our elaborate hierarchies, our risk assessment matrices, our careful diplomatic distances. We survived through caution. Humans survived through connection. Your species is insane, I said finally. Vesper grinned. Yeah, but we're fun at parties. As I filed my daily report that evening, I struggled with proper classification. Humans weren't Category 4 sapients. There was something unprecedented. A species that looked at the universe's teeth and claws and said, "Can we be friends?" And somehow, impossibly, it worked. Ripper slept at the foot of Vesper's sleeping platform, one eye occasionally opening to track movement, protecting her pack. Her very strange, very determined, very human pack. I began my report. Humans are a Category 9 species masquerading as Category 4. Not because they're predators themselves, but because they make predators into family. Recommend extreme caution. Also recommend immediate alliance. If humanity can domesticate a Vrexian Stalker in 3 months, imagine what they could do with 3 years, or 3 centuries. The galaxy has no idea what's coming, neither do I. But I suspect it will be fascinating. I submitted the report, looked at the sleeping predator, and poured myself some of that terrible coffee Vesper recommended. She was right. It was terrible. But it was growing on me. Just like everything else human.